when it comes to Arsenal, you know nothing about football anymore. Like when it comes to
No,
Arsenal,
I don't have any problem with that. What? Show me one clear. The stats say United did not create one big chance.
who does the XG give a higher goal scoring chance percentage?
Bro, I don't give a flipping flying F about XG. How many clear chances did United create?
So all of a sudden,
you are
right.
talking XG.
This is the first episode.
United did not create one big chance.
Millman, you said how many chances did United create yesterday?
Yes. How many clear chances? Clear chances. I didn't say chances.
Baba, which kind of life is this one now, Snowman?
No, I said
which kind of life is
chances.
this?
Hello, everybody. Welcome along to our Hindsight Podcast studios. Well, not our studios, but we've got a live, recording on a Monday morning, and we're pretty much welcoming you back to the new season, giving you pretty much a taste of our double episode a week, which is what we've resolved to do for our very interesting community. Thanks for all the feedback on Thursday. It was really appreciated by all the guys, and we totally like the feedback. 100 comments on YouTube, something like that. Looks really nice. So thank you very much for that. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday. Let's get into what we observed from Matchday One across the European football. Let's start off with the Premier League, and I think it's best to start off with what we saw from the reigning champions, Liverpool. IBK is trying to join. I think IBK's network is a bit iffy. Rufai is here. Ineba Monday is here as well. So we got the guys in the place for what is a nice 1 hour chit chat, right? Rufai, how are you doing? You good?
Right. Sorry about that. Feeling very good. Obviously very glad to be here, ready to chat about what we witnessed yesterday and obviously the entire weekend. But yeah, good to be back on the pod.
Yep. Thursdays and Mondays are new recording. Of course, Thursdays are pretty much, we film every Thursdays. We drop the episodes on Fridays. Long may that continue. We've added a new dimension to season 6, and that means every Monday we're going to do an episode, and we're going to put it out on Monday as well. So hopefully you like that very much. Hopefully you can give us the same reaction and even better reactions to the Thursday episodes. Ini, how are you? You good?
Exciting weekend. I'm good. Exciting weekend. What football is back. Really, really happy about that. It was really good spending time, seeing a lot of football over the weekend, and slept quite early last night, for a very long time. Slept quite early, woke up early, had a little running on the road this morning. So refreshed and ready to go.
Great stuff. They say analysis is sweet where you win. You can watch all the replay. You watch all the funny. Watch fan zone. You watch enter. You get enter YouTube. They dig out things. You get. So I imagine you're having a swell time, man. Right. IBK, I don't know if your network is great enough, but how are you, man?
All right, I'm good. I'm okay. It's good to be here.
Fantastic, great. I want to start with what we saw on Friday night, and I was watching the game with a very good friend of mine, Otto Bong. Shout outs to him. Big Liverpool fan, cerebral guy, and we're just observing, of course, the new signings. You're looking at Ekitike and what he brings to the table, but I was also keeping an eye on the timeline on social media, Twitter to be precise, to see the reactions, and it kind of felt like everybody. Rufai had a very good first reaction to Ekitike. One thing I like about him, and I watched his post-match interview, and he said, that thing he said about the Premier League is actually true. The intensity is like here. He said, at 60 minutes, I could feel like I was exhausted. But I like that level of honesty. I like that level of openness. And I feel like that would serve him well. That, when we talk about this game, this football, where we did watch, right? And people say, no, but you're just watching all of us, you don't see more, you don't know more. I mean, I hear that, but the truth is, some of us see a bit more into detail. And this thing that people say, oh, Premier League is the football, they play for space. It's not that they played in space, but for me and you can see that the German League, La Liga, French Ligue 1, is at least 2 paces slower. And I always go back to the Di Maria debut at United, right? In the first game against Leicester, Di Maria was incredible, right? But I could tell that at that pace, right, he would not be able to continue, right? or I was hoping that he could keep up. But you could just see that as the season wore on, and of course we had the problems with Louis Van Gaal, I could just tell that the pace was a problem for him. In other leagues in Spain, you play, make an action, you hear the drums, boom, 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 boom. Everybody's like passing the ball, and everybody's moving like a dance, that kind of thing. Dang, dang, dang. In the Premier League, it's literally like this to this to this to this, right? And I thought that the guy acquitted himself very well with the game Ekitike. The key actions were very good. Key actions were very good. For a tall guy, I think he's an asset to the team. If he's not scoring goals, he would bring other people in. The assist for Gakpo is a typical example. I think Gakpo would love playing with him, right? Peel out to the left, drag two people away, give me a pass, and it was really good. Fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're spot on, and clearly it was why I think everybody in the league, in the Premier League, that wanted Ekitike wanted him. It is how much like he brings to the entire play of the team. He can. I mean, he can score goals. He has shown that he can score goals, but his all-round play is so good. Where
Yeah.
if you're looking for outlets, you're looking for solution, like you rightly mentioned, peeling to the left and then getting the ball and even having the presence of mind to be able to play a pass when the pass, the opportunity came up. So I think his play is really clean. Really, really clean, really good on the ball. He has the right touches. He takes the right amount of touches. And what you said about him is post-match conference. That's what when you try to tell football players. Yes, we understand that you're in the eye of the storm in terms of the media, in terms of the press. But sometimes don't take yourself too seriously. Him coming at the
Yep.
post-match conference and going, look, this intensity was really
It's actually
that's a
high.
way of him. Do you understand? That's a way of him. I can tell that the press might even like that a little bit. That's him giving the Premier League props, before anything. He's not trying to say, I'm the best of the best here. He's telling everyone, look, he's actually right that the Premier League can be really difficult. It's actually really difficult. And I think you put it the right way. Every time people talk about the Premier League being more difficult, we're not saying that's the best league in terms of like the football that's played. But when you play there, like that, look, you have no chance, no time to rest. It's end to end, it's back to back. But I thought that was it couldn't have gone any better for Ekitike, and congratulations to him.
Great stuff. What do you make of Liverpool's overall performance, Ini? I mean, I think that the 4 goal, the 4-2 in the end, maybe may have flattered the results, but to find different gears to go into on day one is very, very impressive. To get that first win, I think it was 1-0, then it was 1-1, right?
It was 2-0.
There was 1-0 and 2-0. So, but to
Yeah.
find
Then
that,
it
Was
was
2
I think Liverpool will be there. They'll be there. If anything, what we saw is that I'm always worried about when teams are trying to transition and change their personnel at scale. And what we're witnessing at Liverpool is that, of course, they want to bring in Isak, but they've, blessed memory, lost Diogo Jota, they lost Darwin Nunes, they lost Luis Diaz. I just sense that I was really worried about, would they get
They lost strength as well.
the right culture, you get to say, you know what, we're title contender again. What I saw on Matchday One, of course, is not enough information. But what I saw on Matchday One showed me that there is enough quality, even on an individual level, to take them boom, boom, boom past teams. And before you know it, you're thinking, we had these guys, but we don't have them anymore. 4-2 was the result. It was really good.
Yeah, very, very good. And that's why they are the champion. That's why they won the league, because they find, that extra level of gear to go again in those very key moments. But I thought that, when Bournemouth got at 2-2, it felt like maybe the emotions, starting the game, all the emotions about Jota playing the first time, at 2-2, it felt like they didn't have enough in them again, and Bournemouth were having the momentum and really going for it, and it was really good to see at an individual level, people like Salah would come through. What was his name off the bench? Federico Chiesa coming off the bench. I thought it was really good, but you know, holistically, you have to look at it, and we saw it in the Crystal Palace game. You have to look at it
Yeah.
and think that there are cracks in that Liverpool team in terms of defending. The 2 goals they conceded was really poor. I think the second goal was very atrocious to give away. To let a player run the length of that pitch and no one, was
So,
engaging him, no
so
one
someone
went
should,
to challenge.
someone should reduct their wages.
It was really, really, really poor to see. But on a Kitiki, I thought I was very impressed, and I thought Rufai spoke really well. I thought he was, when you come to the Premier League and you're making a debut, and you're not necessarily. I know he's a big guy, he's a big tall guy, but I don't think he's a physical specimen like that. He's not. He's not that big a guy to be able to. But I thought he managed his game very well. I thought that when he needed to drop deep and play, he did. When he needed to stretch the Bournemouth defense, I thought he was excellent on the day. I mean, you cannot make a better debut. And on top of it, he scored. And that will do his confidence a
Yeah,
world of good. So I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Why they want to go and sign Isak again, I will never know. It's unfair that they want to sign Isak. It's really unfair.
You're hoping that they don't. There's nothing unfair about it.
I can't even pretend. I can't even pretend. I hope they don't sign Isak. I really hope that Newcastle stand their ground and make that brother to honor his contract. I really
I,
hope
I
he
mean,
honors his contract.
look, IBK, I think that if you have everyone have talked about how maybe light, possibly Liverpool might be in midfield, and how the midfield might
yeah.
be the problem for them this season. But when you have a player like Ekitike, which I don't know, that's why I'm asking, might put into perspective also why they're trying to get Isak still. Because when you have a player like Ekitike, numerous times in that game against Bournemouth, is the guy that's dropping into the midfield and picking the ball up and driving them
Yeah.
up the field. So it feels like he's an extra man in midfield for them, going forward. Does that solve a bit of a midfield weakness for them, having a player like Ekitike?
No, I think that maybe probably the fact that we didn't see much of McAllister, we didn't see much of Soboslai. I think that when you have the proper midfield setup, you really don't need a TK, dropping back. And I think a coach was talking about the fact that when you have a striker, you want your striker to be a striker, just be around the box because the midfielders already know what job they need to do. It might be probably maybe that's the style of play, but I think that in high intensity games, it needs to take a bit, it needs to calm down a bit because in the end you run yourself out. You're a striker, you need to just dance around the box. But coming down, coming back to to support the midfield onto the attack, I think it might wear him out in, probably 60 minutes gone, he'll be tired already. So I think for me, if the midfielders have gone there, if they know what to do, if they are in shape to do what they have to do, I don't think the strikers should drop deep and get the ball and transition into the attack. For me, that's my opinion. But Ekitike, there is no better way to start the season, scoring the first goal of the Premier League season, knowing fully well that you have Isak, coming to battle that position with you. I think that performance will be a big headache, to Liverpool board and also the coach. Do they really need this sack? I think that will be the question now, not about Isak coming in, but are they sure they actually need this sack? Because you have a player who has shown already that he's ready to fill in the shoes of Isak easily.
I think is it. I mean, I'm not quite sure what IBK is on. I think it's a joy for every team to have a striker that can come in and link play and give the team a different dimension. Um, but I do think that I watched them, and I think the Isak signing is even more important after the first game, just to allow. So what I find with new signings is that when they come and they have a good first couple of weeks, you need to allow them to be able to breathe a little bit and take the pressure off them a little bit. So I think the Isak signing is very important. Let's move away from Liverpool, right? Good first game, good performance. I think Liverpool will be fine. I think the manager is he hasn't lost a lot of momentum. Let's touch base with Man City because I was watching the game on Saturday, and I find that the pressure around Man City is almost non-existent. Right? Kind of feels like people have ignored the work they've done in the summer, and everybody's just saying, you know what, Man City, I'm on Man City. We're tired of them. You know that kind of thing, and they've gone in and gotten maybe done the best transfer business, maybe. right? Given the already existing quality. When you bring in Reinders, Ryan Sheki for 35, you bring in all these good players, Nuri at left back. In terms of completeness, right? I think Man City may be the most complete team, no? And nobody's talking about it, Rufai.
Absolutely. I think I don't know how that has happened. Maybe down to the season they had last season wasn't convincing at some point, so people felt like what City had done, and then they're never winning the league again. And the business Pep has done, not just with the incoming, but even like with the outgoing, is streamlining the team. A lot of the outgoings that are happening are not because they are trying to get people in to replace them. It's because they are trying to cut down on the team. They want to have a certain amount of players in the squad. And like rightly pointed out, I remember saying it on the pod that no, they should not allow City get Tijani Rendias. I remember saying it, and I remember saying I think Liverpool should go and get Tijani Rendias. I said it once. I think I said it for Manchester United as well. And I feel like the thing about, a lot of us that watch the Premier League a lot, and, speaking for myself, I'm guilty of it at times as well. You watch the Premier League so much, you miss out on a lot of players that are absolutely fantastic, that are having a fantastic season. Rendias last season, with AC Milan, possibly top top three, top five CMs number 8 in Europe, and somehow Man City had a free run at the guy for cheap. It's amazing. And when you consider the fact that they did business in January as well, where they got in Nico, they got in a few other players. One of them they're selling now, right? And then they went and got Ait Nuri. It's amazing the kind of squad he's been able to put together. Now he brought Cheki from the bench in the first game of the season. He came and scored after a few minutes. They have a very, very solid squad in terms of
And
options,
Rodri's yet to
profiles.
come back.
Rodri is yet to come back, right? In terms of options, profiles, in terms of like experience, in terms of like quality, and then they've got Pep Guardiola again. I won't be surprised if they win the league again. In my opinion, same for Liverpool trying to get Isak. If they get Isak in, then it really, really, there's something to be discussed there. I think City are very much in it.
Yeah, yeah. I think Liverpool. The only way Liverpool can have this can be a very balanced. Obviously, it's match day one, so you can't read too much into it. But given that this is not a new team, it's the same manager. We have precedent to draw from. With Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal, so we can dive into it a bit more because there are known quantities, there are known dimensions. The unknown variables are your Uniteds, your Aston Villas, your in many ways Chelsea as well. It's still an unknown quantity, but we can say for sure Man City will be there. When you see Haaland scoring, you know, I think Haaland even looks fitter, right? There's the movement he made, the shot. Haaland is always going to be a class striker, right? But the support around him is just overwhelming. So for match day one, I think City will be there. I think they'll be
Just,
really up there, right?
just to
And the
quickly
only thing
add,
that would
just to quickly
wrestle
add,
that the only thing that will wrestle that control from them is if Liverpool get Isak. It will almost like
yeah, yeah.
balance it a little bit.
Just to quickly add, I also feel like the only chance the other teams would have against City is to hope that players like Czechie find it difficult to settle. I mean, he scored in the first game, but they hope that players like Czechie find it difficult to settle in. Rodri, a bit of the injury. We don't know what he's going to look like when he gets back, and Tijani Rendias as well. Because if all of these players, when you look at the fact that they are able to bring Czechie on, if Czechie is having on his day, he's unplayable. He would create numerous chances for the team, and if he's having a good time, I think it will be very difficult to knock City off their perch.
Yeah, yeah. What do you make of City's performance? Are you does it worry you that they're that good on match day one, or is it? Or you think about the quality of the position as well, right? Did that have anything to do with it?
I thought they played really well, and City will always be City, and you talked about the strengths they have as a team and what they've done in the transfer window. You have to be worried, and Haaland, I saw him. I thought he was very fresh. He looked really sharp. He was making runs, and he's going to get better. He's just going to get better because of the quality around him. And Ryan Cherky is another player who looks like he's a maverick footballer. He's got that air of unpredictability about him. He's two-footed, very skillful, can eliminate people, and you have a Reinders who is a box-to-box midfielder, very technical, could pass, could run with the ball, could shoot, could almost do everything in that midfield area. And then you still have the old heads in Bernardo Silva, uh, Diaz in defense, John Stones. It's a very solid team, and I think they fancy the fact that nobody's really looking at them. They fancy the fact that they've not been installed as favorites, and I feel like when you do that to that sort of team with that sort of quality, it is very dangerous because now they go into matches with that pressure. Obviously, there's a pressure they put on themselves, but nobody's pressurizing them to go out and win the league because of the kind of season they had last season. And it feels like they're playing with that extra freedom to just have a good time. And I thought that against Wolves, obviously, you could talk about the quality of position, but I thought they were very controlled. It wasn't like they went into second gear to win the game. They were just controlled, very measured, moved the ball around, very neat and tidy. Pick the moments and kill the opponent off. And I thought it was really good to see. But you have to allow. I don't think we can read too much into any team at the moment. I think that after the first 7, 8 games, we can get to what City will be like. Because usually before the start of last season, City were always the ones who start who were the slow burners in starting. They don't quite hit the ground running immediately. But last season they hit the ground running, and then Rodri got injured, and it was a terrible season. This season they've started well. They've won 4-0. They've got some really difficult fixtures coming in the next few weeks. They play Arsenal in the next 3-4 weeks. They play Liverpool in the next. I can't really say now, but they're really difficult fixtures in there. And after 6, 7 games, I think we can generally start to run rule over teams who would be there and teams who would not be there. But on face value, I think the Liverpool City look like they're very nearing, and they certainly will be in that time of the conversation.
I tell you what, right? City's next fixtures are very important, and I think that 4-0 was very important that they won resoundingly because they play Tottenham next, right? At Etihad, then they travel to Amex, they play Brighton, then they play Man United at Etihad, then they go to the Emirates to play Arsenal, right? So effectively, the next 1, 2, 3 fixtures are, bang, bang, bang. Then they play Brentford as well. So Brentford are not the same Brentford from way back. But I think, yeah, you're right. The next couple of games would be very important to gauge the level of, overwhelming quality they have, right? I want to walk away from City just a little bit. But early takes, I think Haaland will be top scorer. That's what I feel. I think Haaland will be top scorer this season. Any different opinion?
No, no, no. I think he will be top scorer. Like I said, he looked really sharp. And the second goal, although you could argue the goalkeeper should have done better, but the second goal was really vintage Haaland because he just was in the
The ball
position,
striking is brilliant.
Only
exactly,
only only a
knowing where to
madman will
be.
bet against Haaland now.
When, when the ball went wide and the ball was played into Renda's path. You could see the movement of Haaland. I don't know if he was screaming or Renders knew where he was, but when he caught that ball back, most strikers in world football will take a touch. Most strikers will take a touch to set themselves up because he had a big room to take a touch and possibly place it, but that element of surprise and it comes with sharpness. It comes with when a player, a striker is at it, and that's what I saw, and I feel like he's going to score a ton of goals this season. I'm not top scorer, I think. I'm behind you on that.
Yeah, right. Let's get away from City. I want to touch base with what we saw at Tottenham, right? And before we get into the United game, because I think that I think Thomas Frank is one of the best managers in the league, and obviously
Yeah.
you have Pep Guardiola as the probably the de facto best manager in the league. Arne Slot is got to be there. He's won a league title in his first season. The electrician is also he's also in that mention as well. But I think he'll do a really good job at Tottenham. I think he'll do a really good job, and why I say that is that he would just bring in there's an assurance to what he's doing, right? There's just an assurance to what he's doing. And this season we've seen United, for example, go with the Premier League proven quality, right? To manage to in terms of the signings. And I know they tried that with Nuno as well. That didn't quite work out. But I think Thomas Frank is the level ahead of Nuno in terms of man management, in terms of the way he carries himself, the air he brings around the football club, the goodwill he brings. And I think he doesn't go into this player, tussle thing. He'll just if you don't do what he wants, he'll just find somebody else to do it. But Tottenham really showed a good performance, and I think they'll be there. I think they'll be there
No,
not to win the title, but they'll be there to if they get Eze in. If they get Eze in, from the structures of the team I see, you get a guy like Eze in, it'll be a really big problem for everybody, right, Rufai?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think at the least they're gonna have a better season than they did last season. I think at the least they're gonna have a better season. They're gonna have possibly a really good season because if you saw their game against PSG, their
Yep.
game their game on when was that the opening game they played in EPL, you
Yeah.
can tell immediately that there's now a difference. There's now a difference in their
The
structure
structure.
of play. I remember saying that what's his name, the previous manager, um, Spurs, the previous manager at Spurs.
And
This is Ange. I remember saying Ange plays very irresponsible football. If you saw Spurs against PSG and the game in the EPL, there's already a change in the sense that even when they're attacking, they have a structure where you can tell that this is like a rest defense. If the opposition wants to break fast against us, we have 1, 2, 3 strategically positioned to try and immediately defend from the edge of the box of the opposition. Completely different from what Ange Postecoglou which was gung ho. We're gonna go over and try and score goals, right? And on top of that, they're trying to get in. They've gotten Kudus that already has made a world of difference for them. Madison has been out, so he's out now. So if they get Eze in, they now have not just 1 or 2 creators in the team, they now have about 3 or 4. When Madison comes back, now they've got Madison, they've got Eze, they've got Kulusevski. Remember, Kulusevski is still very much there.
Yeah.
And now they've got Mo Kudus. So they've got really technical players, creative players, and quite match winners and game changers. And then they've got Thomas Frank that you can trust to go into a game set up in a way that they're going to go in, take their chances if they have them, and then you can't easily break them down. So I very much believe they're going to have a better season than they did last season. Going to have a very good season. It was unfortunate that they didn't win that Super Cup because that would have been a very, very a good one for Thomas Frank. But I'm looking at obviously not coming and win the league, but maybe just that the spots after the top 4.
yeah. I think a lot of people speak about they have very athletic players, and I've always maintained this even under Ange. I said a guy like Sa, right? Is a player Jose Mourinho signed. I think every team needs a player like Sa, and I put out a tweet. I said every top team has a player like Sa in their team, right? Chelsea have Caicedo, right? That can do pretty much anything in the midfield, right?
Yeah.
Can score, can run, can defend, can attack, if you need him to attack. PSG have João Neves, right? Destroy, enforce, defend, attack a little bit, that kind of thing. Who else is there?
Arsenal.
Liverpool, you get have a guy like that. Arsenal have a guy like that to be Mendy, or Declan Rice, I'd rather say. So it's a very important quality to have. And people don't speak about, this guy, the kid at left back, JD Spence.
Udogie.
Very athletic player. I'm not quite sure his best position, but very athletic. This Kudus guy, I think he would thrive a lot from playing in a structure. The players fully trust this manager's process. Like they know this guy is a guy who has done a body of work that is untouchable.
Yeah.
Right. And they fully understand. I can imagine you having like a guy like Ange in the dressing room, and he tells you everybody be at the halfway line, right? The players are like, if this thing no work, say we're in trouble. That kind of thing. But with this guy, it just says that the players are just going to be free to work in a structure, and that their talent will show, right? So I want to wrap on Tottenham, but I want to move quickly to Arsenal United or United Arsenal, right? And I think I'll bring IBK in here because for me, I was always very sure of what United, because of course, I'm a fan of the football club. I watch, I know a bit more, I can see a bit more than the rest of the guys might see. So I wasn't surprised about the performance at all. I just thought that Arsenal would do a bit more. You understand? The performance of United is what they've done all score preseason. Very high intense, very, they press high. Then if you add the quality of guys like Cunha and Buemo, Bruno, it's for me, it's law of averages, right? You have a team that's working hard, that looks very fit, then you sprinkle some stardust. It's only a matter of time before they start scoring a lot of goals. I just think that Arsenal didn't give me the game I thought. So to that effect, I couldn't really gauge United's performance, right? So yes, United played a good game, but was that good game because of Arsenal's really bad? I thought Arsenal did not play, right? I thought Arsenal hung on, and hanging on is different from playing. So that's why I'm still very measured with my analysis of United. I want to see them against a team that is also really bang, bang, bang. But I think IBK's network is messing a little bit. I want to speak to, let's start with Ini on this.
Yeah, on general, I thought United played really well, and you have to give them credit because sometimes it is easier to say, oh, they played really well because the opponent played really poorly, but also I always like to flip it the other way around. I thought they played really well because they stopped Arsenal from playing really well. So you have to give them credit if we're being honest, because I thought the intensity was really good. They pressed, they tried it in certain moments, in pressing, not allowing Gabriel and Saliba, especially in the first half, not allowing Gabriel and Saliba to be very comfortable. Arsenal made a lot of mistakes. They were giving the ball away, quite uncharacteristically. Declan Rice was a culprit, Gabriel, Saliba. In that first 45 minutes, it looks like Arsenal were a bag of nerves. And that is credit to United, if I'm honest. It was credit to the intensity they showed in the game, the intensity, they played the first half with. And I thought they played really well. But in the end, it's about the result. And it would frustrate them so much. It would frustrate them so much that, Arsenal had a very poor game, in the end. And on Arsenal's very poor day, they still managed to win. And that, in my opinion, will really hurts the players because they gave a lot. They worked really hard and lost by, I still think it's a goalkeeping mistake, and the goalkeeper has to be stronger, has to be a lot more dominant than that. But there were lots of positives to take from that game yesterday from a United standpoint, because I thought that Cunha was different class. When he had the opportunity, in those pockets of spaces, he was just unbelievable. His running power, his ability, that fancy flick, and just make things happen. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Brian Bumo too was another one to look at, because he kept knocking at the door. The door wasn't just opening. But I thought in the end, United have to be very, very happy. Not happy with the result, but very pleased that they put out that kind of performance against a very good Arsenal team. And also defensively, I thought that Delete was very dominant. He had a few moments with Gyökeres where Gyökeres felt like he was bullying him, but I thought he was outstanding altogether. Delete, in my opinion, haven't seen him play a better United in defensive performance than that. I thought he was very dominant. He stood up to Gyökeres. I thought that was impressive. Leniero as well. So United have got a lot of positives to take from this game, but they need to be a lot more clinical. They need to take their chances more, and they need to be more decisive in the final third. Even though they had lots of shots on target, you look at the highlights again, and it didn't feel like they had really many clear-cut chances in the game. They hit the post. There was not many chances they really fashioned out. And maybe you could say in the second half, Arsenal improved a little bit, and particularly defensively. But I thought that United did really well, and they deserve a lot of credit.
I always like to. I think IBK's network is a bit stable now. I always like to look at the teams from from three facets, right? First things first. I think the goalkeeper error was totally naive. That was when you play in the Premier League, and we talk about this thing, right? If I, as a football fan, watch Arsenal in the Premier League, and I know that when it comes to corners, they badger the goalkeeper, right? And never
I
mind
don't
what they
think it's
told you.
sorry. I
No,
don't think it's an Arsenal thing. People are trying to make it an Arsenal. It's not an Arsenal thing. With
no,
corners,
in it,
teams,
it's an Arsenal. Arsenal have benefited
it's
very
not an
much
Arsenal thing.
from
I'm
badgering the
not going to
goalkeeper.
accept that. I'm not going to accept. It's not an Arsenal thing. There is not a time corners are taken that people are not, there's not pushing and shoving, and people are trying to make the goalkeeper
In
uncomfortable.
in your
Arsenal
bong,
have
in your
just
bong,
found a way to do it and get a lot of goals from it. It's
in
not
your bong,
an
in
Arsenal
your
thing.
bong,
It's a
in
normal
your
thing
bong.
in football.
Let me respond to you. Let me respond to
So far,
you.
you're muted.
No, no, no. You can't hear me. Ini can hear me. I thought Ini could hear me.
I
Ini
can
can
hear
hear
you, but I
me.
think the guys can hear you.
I
I'm
can't
not
hear
quite
you.
sure. Uh-uh. I'm
Rufai,
not
we're not hearing
muted
you.
actually.
We're not hearing Rufai.
Okay, let me leave and come back.
Okay, yeah. I think Rufai was sorry the
Can you
audio back.
can you hear
I
me
thought you were
now?
an Arsenal
Can you
thing,
hear me
right?
now?
When Arsenal, if you go back and look at the sample size, Arsenal put a player on the goalkeeper. They done it all through last season, right? The first game of the season, right? They've benefited their win from doing that. And I'm not putting on Arsenal. What I'm saying, I still think that it's a goalkeeping error. But Arsenal have a reputation at the moment as the poster boys for impeding the goalkeeper. They've done it all through last season. It is not possible that you are the only person, right, that is holding brief and saying, no, I don't want to, it's not an Arsenal thing. That is
No, but
being
it's not.
selectively,
No.
no,
Oh, Arsenal. No, what you're saying is that
in
Arsenal
it.
are the first team in world football who put a player on a goalkeeper.
You are
That
you are
that's
no, you're not listening. Arsenal are the ones now that are the poster boys for badgering the goalkeeper. They've done it all through last season, right? They benefited from it, right? This season as well, the first points they've won has been won off the back of manipulating the rules. And fair play to
that
them for
that
finding that
Yubi,
loophole.
Yubi, 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 I'm sorry, but it's total nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. What
I
this
don't,
Saliba
I
did,
don't,
everybody.
I don't
No,
expect you to
hold on.
say.
But it's nonsense. You know why I think it's nonsense? Because people are getting away with, oh, it's fouling the goalkeeper. How is he fouling the goalkeeper? Has he put his hands on the goalkeeper? He hasn't done that. What are the defenders doing in the area? The defenders are blocking people. They are pushing people. How does the goalkeeper, who has the advantage of his hands, using his hands, now being said, oh, a player cannot put his body against the body's goalkeeper, a goalkeeper's body. That is not a foul. There is not a chance. Delhi did the same thing. Delhi did the same thing to Raya. But Raya is just a better goalkeeper. It's just a goalkeeper who can dominate
Ini,
his area. If you
let's
put this on now, then I'm sorry.
Ini,
There's nothing
Ini.
I can say.
Hold on, IDP. Hold on, IDP, right? What I'll tell you Ini, is that what you have said is complete. When you model up something, right, and you've given an opinion that is based off of emptiness, right? That's all you want. Let's look at pure aerodynamics, pure physics, right? When you are in the air, right, trying to catch a ball or anything like that, let's forget you're in the air. You have two decisions to make, right? One is to push, right? Your hands are for stability. These hands, right, are for stability. The moment I'm in the air, I'm jumping like this part of my body is ineffective. If my job is to push you, I can do that effectively well. If my focus is on the ball, you can do whatever I want to do with me here because I don't have the hands for balance. So this is the point. When you speak about the goalkeeping thing, you have to talk about the natural human position. Once you put your hands in the air and jump, if the slightest nudge from a kid, from a 6-year-old kid, is going to knock you off balance. So when you say he's put his body on the goalkeeper, then you're not listening to yourself because it's
No,
simple.
no, 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 no.
Listen,
I,
listen,
I, I
listen,
get it.
listen,
I get it.
listen. Once
You
your hands are
think no?
listen,
You genuinely
listen.
no, no. I want to ask you a simple
If you
question.
if you just
Do
let
you
me finish,
genuinely
no,
think
I
that
let you
was a foul?
finish. Ini, I let you finish. I let you finish, right? When your hands are in the air, right? You don't have this from here down is completely, it's like a pendulum. So it's simple physics. Let's not make it about football. It's simple physics. I have admitted, I've said, look, the goalkeeper is naive, right? Because, like Roy Keane said, and I was talking to Rufai, watching the game together. He said, look, for me, I would take Saliba's head off, right? Because you come out with violence. The moment the corner is set up, you push Saliba away and let the referee call him to attention. Because once the referee eye is there, he can't do it anymore. So
So
for a goalkeeper that's in the Premier League playing for United on the first day of the season, with all the information, should be more prepared for a situation like that.
no, no,
Having
no,
said that,
no.
right, Arsenal have benefited from that grey area in the rule. You can come back with a rebuttal, but I know it's BS. But what I've told you is simple physics. I can let IBK come in now and you can take it.
So I think that it is quite unfair to just blame the goalkeeper with what happened yesterday. And I've always said that there's a
IBK, I can't
pattern
hear you.
Arsenal
Can you
usually
hear
do.
IBK?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I lost both of you.
Can you hear me?
I'm muted. I can't hear IBK.
IBK, can you hear me? I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
me. I
me?
can't hear you.
I think
Can you
network
hear
is
me?
bad again.
This is my
See,
network.
Ini,
This is
just
my network.
continue.
Not dry.
IBK, say what you want to say. Don't worry. Ini, continue what you're saying. IBK, I'll have
No,
your
but,
own
but, but,
later.
but we can't. You can't say what he wants to say if we don't know when he's stopping and when he's starting now. So that's the thing.
Okay. So what do we do? Should we just leave or what?
No, no. Let him have his rebuttal, and I think we'll talk about the other. Yeah.
So I still maintain that, and I quite understand. And sometimes football can have gray areas. When in the box, I've watched. When I finished watching the game in real time, I watched the game again. That that the goal that was scored, you need to go and watch it again. If the goal wasn't scored and the referee or VAR needed to, scan the area and check, there could have been a penalty. There were two. Casemiro had both his hands on Zubimendi. Zubimendi made a dart to attack the corner. Casemiro had both his hands. He grabbed him like he was hugging him. That, in the rule, is a penalty. If you do that to a player inside the box, it's a penalty. But the referee hasn't looked at that. And why the referees don't look at that is that if you keep looking at that, there are going to be at least 5 to 10 penalties in every football match. Every time there's a set piece in the area, you cannot say, oh, every touch is a penalty or every touch is a foul. If you do that, you're literally taking the essence of the game away, because people will walk into areas and say, you know what, I can't put my hands on him, oh, I can't put my body on him, oh, I can't touch him, and all of that. So I feel
Excuse
like
me,
the
sir.
goalkeeper should be strong. I feel
Excuse
like
me,
the
sir.
goalkeeper should be stronger. No, hold on.
Yeah.
I feel the
The goal.
goalkeeper should be stronger. I feel the goalkeeper should be stronger because when United had a corner, Delic is a big guy. He stood on Raya, was trying to not Raya, but Raya is a better goalkeeper. He knows that I have the advantage. I have the advantage, number one, and that's what United fans are not seeing. Binder misjudged the flight of the ball, because if he doesn't misjudge the flight of the ball, he takes that ball out. Because if somebody nudges you, if you're on flight already and somebody nudges you, you will get a good punch on the ball. He's trying to move the ball. When the ball came with his left hand. When the
You-
same
you-
ball
you-
was played into
it's clear you're
no
not
hold
play
on.
football in your life.
When the same ball was played into Arsenal's area, Raya was being nudged. Go and watch it again. He was being nudged by
Ini,
Delete.
ini. Did you
Raya saw the ball. He went with his fist and he punched the ball out. If that
Yubi,
is
can
not
I say something?
poor
Can I say something?
goalkeeping, then I don't
no,
know what it is.
before
Can
you
I?
go? I did this is the last thing I'll say about it, right? You need to speak about oh, Casemiro had his hands on Zubimendi, right? Did you see the foul on Mason Mount or not?
In that situation,
In that same sequence of play.
there were fouls everywhere in that box. In that
Exactly.
situation,
So the point I want to make is that you saw what you wanted to see, right? The same way I was telling you before you came back, right? Just physics, right? When you jump and your hands are in the air, when your hands are like this, you have more support, right? When you jump like this and your hands are in the air, this from here down you are like a swinging pendulum. Any small notch, right? So let's establish that, right? I've also said the goalkeeper is silly because what you do in situations like that is you put one hand on whoever and you come with the violence. This one hand gives you some stability. Do you get? This other hand is for violence, right? To punching the ball. The second thing you can do, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional goalkeeper like me, but what I can say for sure is this: when the corners come, and because of all the micro detail you have before the game, when somebody starts to badger you, right, you either tell your defender to bring violence on him, or you push the player away before the referee's whistle goes, so you call the referee's attention that this is what's happening here, right? Binder did neither of those. So for me,
Let me
I put the blame solely at his feet, right? But
let
when
me
you come here and say that Arsenal have not created, they don't have a notoriety for being the team that badgers. Timber does it a lot. Saliba does it a lot. The Arsenal player that scores the most clean goals from headers is Gabriel. But guess what? The reason a lot of those goals are scored, and I don't want to take anything from Gabriel's goals because goals are fantastic, is Arsenal know how they've honed the skill. They know how to do it.
let me
It's down to other
let me.
teams. It's down to other teams to figure it out. And the last point I want to make is
Yes.
this. Do you know that the Premier League put out a legislation this season before the season started and said that once we see in a corner situation, we would look at where the player's eye is. If they're looking at the ball, right, then it's fair. Whatever's happening is, part of the jostle. But if they're not looking at the ball and they're constantly focused on just badgering this guy, then that's a foul. When you watch that back, can you say for 100% that Saliba's attempt was to head the ball or badger the goalkeeper? That's where I leave it. It's part of the Premier League
Here's
rules.
what here's what I'm going to say. Why I disagree with Nelbion comparing the situation to the Raya one. So first of all, the fault is with the goalkeeper, the United goalkeeper. Because I remember saying on the pod that Arsenal found a way to score goals that are not illegal, so teams just have to find a way to stop them. Having said that, the reason it was different was that when the Raya one happened, the lead was in front of Raya, trying to back into Raya. Before the ball came, Raya pushed him a little bit
You put
forward
the push.
so he can get the room to jump and punch. The United goalkeeper didn't do that. That's number one. Number
It was there.
two, number two is that you can't even compare the two situations. Like I said yesterday, you and I were watching the game together. I'm okay with the fact that they didn't cancel the goal, it got given. But if they had canceled
I'm
the
okay with
goal,
that.
I would have understood. You know why? Not only did Saliba try to unsettle the goalkeeper, the first attempt the goalkeeper made to free himself up for the ball, Saliba's hand was on the goalkeeper's hand. Saliba held the goalkeeper's hand. Like
In Inofi
you
see that
can
one,
try
never.
to, you can try to unsettle the goalkeeper, but
wait,
see,
did
I
Saliba
know
hold
in
his hand? Rufai, did Saliba hold his hands when the ball was in flight?
any, are you going to
Did
say
Saliba hold his hands when the
any,
ball was
any
in flight? Because if
relax,
Saliba holds
any,
his hands, when the
I
ball was
want
in
to ask
flight,
you.
it's a
I
foul.
want to ask you. I want to ask you a
No,
question.
answer the
I
question.
want to
Did
ask you a
Saliba hold
question.
his hands when the ball was in
You
flight?
barged into my thought process. Don't relax.
Answer the question. Did Saliba
I'm
hold his
going to
hands when the ball was in flight? If
I'm
Saliba
going
holds
to
his
make
hands
my
when the
point.
ball is in flight, it's a clear
You have
foul.
won. You
And I
have
will hold
won
my
the
hands
game.
and take
You
the
have
foul.
won the game. There's no need to be
Ini,
defensive.
let him finish. Ini.
I'm going to
Let
make
him
my
finish.
point how I'm going to make my point. Like I said when I was
Okay.
talking, I said the first attempt the goalkeeper made at freeing up himself. You remember, I said when the Raya one happened, before the ball came, Raya pushed the elite a little bit so he can get the space to jump. The first attempt the United goalkeeper made to free himself up, Raya had his hand on him. I didn't say he held him when the ball was in flight. That's why I said if the goal had been cancelled, I would have understood because you cannot prove to me that that hand when you hold, even though the ball was not already in flight, was not in flight yet, that hand when you hold no gets effect on the goalkeeper. You can't prove that to me. You cannot, despite the fact that the ball was not in flight yet. So the goalkeeper was naive, quite all right. But you can't tell me that it is the same thing with the Delete and Raya situation. And the other part is that for you to come and say that teams do it, true, teams do it. But I'm telling you, the entire formula around Arsenal's corners is we're going to play in swingers very close to the goalkeeper, and then we are going to unsettle the goalkeeper. It is completely different from what used to happen. So don't say that people used to do what Arsenal have been doing. No, this is the first time we're seeing deliberate tactic on. See, the entire formula of Arsenal corners, we're going to play in swingers very, very close to the goalkeeper, and then we're going to unsettle the goalkeeper. That's the entire thing. The other one they do is that we're going to play to the other post. We're going to play to the other post. We're going to have about 4 players there. Somebody's going to block the defending players so Gabriel can have a free header. That's the other tactic. So we know these things in it. Don't try to
Full brief.
meander
And
your
and
way out of it. We know.
and let's move on from that, right? Because I think we've all had a good distinct on it. But I will, before I made that point, I was going to say, and just to wrap up on this Arsenal conversation, and you guys have a take as well, is that I look at the game from 3 facets, right? Defense, attack, defense, midfield, attack, as everybody does, right? And I think that from a defensive standpoint, I thought I was comfortable with United. And I think he touched a good point, right? The league was dominant, Euro dominant, you know. I thought Luke Shaw had maybe the best game I've seen him play in a long, long time, right? The midfield, I thought Casemiro in some moments rolled back the year, did okay, right? I thought Dogu was brilliant, right? And I just feel sad for him that he didn't score that goal because if he had scored that goal, it would have cemented his breath in the team, right? I thought it was fantastic. Um, of course, Cunha and Buemo did what what Cunha did is what he has done at Wolves for the last 2 years. You know, run at people. You think you're going to get the ball from him, but you don't get the ball from him. He shields the ball. I think I saw his stats. United, Buemo was the most foul player in the Premier League last season, right? I also saw his stats that game was the first time since the 8-2 United had that many shots on target or shots rather in total. So I think the signs are very good. I just feel like the team has to realize that when you are in the ascendancy, right, when you are playing well, you need to make sure that there is a reward for that playing well, right? So I don't want the team to get into this feeling that, oh, we played Arsenal, we played well. Because I thought last season, for example, United played better than Arsenal, right? United played better than Arsenal at Old Trafford. So this, for me, is not a surprise. But you need to win games to move up the table, right? So those things are key for me. But, you know, good game, Arsenal won. You know, I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with Arsenal's win, but I just want to say that
yeah.
I think that if you put the if
That
you
lie. You have a problem with Arsenal winning. You say you don't have a
So,
problem with Arsenal
no,
winning.
no,
You have a problem with
honestly,
Arsenal.
honestly, The
You
problem I
didn't lie.
had,
You
right?
say I don't have a problem with
No,
Arsenal
if
winning. Wow,
no,
my brother.
if I were an Arsenal fan, right? If I were an Arsenal fan, right? The problem I would have is that the signs we talk about structure of the team. I don't see that Arsenal are going to flow. I
They
don't see that
play.
they're going to flow. Like they're going to
They
like,
play.
and obviously it's the first game of the season, right? But the structure of the team in terms of how the team goes about attacking. I said this last season. I thought the season before when Arsenal had three players scoring double digits, assists and goals. Arsenal were the start of games like they wanna take your head off. I see
Bro,
it, and we talked about
make
this
I
on
bust your head.
Thursday.
Make I bust
There
your
is
head.
a yeah.
So Martin Zubimendi played more passes, breaking lines than anybody on the pitch yesterday. Arsenal had 3-4 moments where one pass would have killed you off. One pass, one good pass would have killed you off. The attacking players yesterday,
But it didn't
Odegaard,
happen.
Martinelli, uh, Saka in some moments, were the biggest culprits yesterday. The reason that game was not convincing is because every time you've flown forward and Martin Zubimendi has intercepted and a pass has been played through, Odegaard messed up two opportunities where he would have played a simple pass and would have killed you up. So when you
Odegaard are my
say, "Oh,
player.
Arsenal are not going to," when you say, "I don't see that Arsenal are going to flow," it was the first game of the season, and I keep saying, Gyökeres started his preseason on the 27th of July. He hasn't gelled with the team yet. So I can't really read too much because he hadn't trained with any team, because of the saga he had with Sporting Lisbon. He only started training with the team on the 27th of July. So I can't read too much into the team. Odegaard, we talked about it on Thursday, second guessing himself, but there were aspects in that game. That game would have been a proper smash and grab if Arsenal had those moments and they took advantage of those moments. Don't look like Arsenal being they were not in your box. Saka had a shot that Delete blocked brilliantly. That is I don't think you had any clear chance like that inside our box. There's not a chance United had that clear in our box. Did you have one chance like that Saka had from 6 yards where he's having a pop at goal and the defender blocked? There was not one.
Did you see? Did you see? Did you see?
It was a poor Arsenal game. It was a poor Arsenal game.
I want to work with logic, right?
Okay.
Ini, when you speak, allow other people speak, right? I
No
want
vex.
to be on the logical side than be on the emotional side, right? And what I always say is this, right? When you say if Odegaard did this, if Odegaard did that, Odegaard is Arsenal's player. And on Thursday, we spoke about Odegaard's inefficiency and creativity. So basically, Odegaard did what we knew he would do. If it comes to Odegaard to make a breaking line pass, he will not make it. That's what that was our observation from last week. No. So I'm surprised that you are surprised that Arsenal had a couple potential breakaways and it fell on the feet of Odegaard. You are preaching to the church. We know this from Odegaard already. We know he's not a volume creator. We know that he has sort of like dropped off in terms of like making some line breaking passes. So what you're telling me is not new information. When you go back and speak about, you say, oh, if the reason Arsenal have won the game is that United did not take their chances. You understand? But if I go on and say
it's not because United, you be sorry, because I mean, you
why
say
United
United did not take their chances.
Why have Arsenal won the
Please,
game?
can you
Why
show
have
me?
you won the game?
Can you show me? Can you tell me from that game? Can you tell me
why
the
have Arsenal
two
won the
chances?
game?
No, hold on.
Why have Arsenal won the game?
No, hold on. Can you tell me? You said United did not take their chances. Can you tell me any chance? Because the stats show that United didn't have any big chance. One big chance. There was only one big chance in the game.
You have analyzed the game, right? You have analyzed the game.
No,
You have done all that,
they
right?
They didn't take their chances. Where was the chance?
Hold on.
United didn't
Hold on.
take any
Hold
chance.
on.
Where was
Hold
the
on.
chance?
Before we let somebody else talk, right? Why did Arsenal win the game?
Arsenal won the game because they're a defensively better team than United. On a day that they are
basically, hold on.
On a day,
inside the 5 minutes, please. You have said
Okay.
that Arsenal won the game before, right? Because they created chances. But now you have said they won the game because they
I didn't
defended a
say
better
that.
team.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said that the narrative people are pushing is that United created loads of chances. I cannot see any chance. United didn't create any chance. They only had scraps where they were feeding on. United realistically could have scored 2 goals in that game. Realistically could have scored 2 goals in that game. The double shots that came off the foot of the post, that you can say is unlucky. Could have scored because Raya was beaten. A realistic chance. And the second goal that I'm still not sure was the Cunha ball from that angle that Raya, brilliantly tipped away. But the angle that ball was going, it doesn't look like it was going on target. Probably hit the post or go wide. But I can still look at that and say it's a chance because the goalkeeper saves it. Apart from that, was there any chance United created that looked like Arsenal were worried? They were shooting
You're asking me,
balls
right?
that were.
Let me answer. You're
Can I
asking me,
can
let
I
me
can
answer,
I
right?
guys
Because
Okay,
you have
wait,
selective,
let
you
me
have a
let me
selective remembrance, right? Do you remember
answer
the
now.
chance that? Hold on. So if you ask me, let me answer, right? Ini, you have to understand how to make these conversations very, very, parliamentary. You understand? Like we need to have a parliamentary discussion here. You speak, I listen. I speak, you listen. Right? You asked me if there were any other chances. Do you remember the Brian Burma chance I didn't pull the trigger? Right? The ball was literally like
Which,
in front of him,
which
and
chance was that?
you have a TV. Watch it back. I know be super
There
sport.
is
I know
no
go
chance.
display.
The only
I know go. I
chance
know go
that
display chance. Give you again.
Brian
Hold on.
Buemo had a shot on goal with his right
Hold.
foot, and Gabriel
Hold on.
closed it down. So that's
Hold
not a
on.
chance.
There was
Do you
a
I'm
remember the
header.
talking.
There was a
chance?
header as well.
Hold on. Do you
Yes,
remember the
that
header?
no. That's a chance. But did you see how comfortable? We're talking clear chances. Did you see how comfortable it was for the goalkeeper to save that? We're talking clear chances because you're telling me Martinelli had a shot inside the area that the goalkeeper picked up
Ini.
very
I
easily.
promise you,
Is
I
that a
promise you,
chance?
when it comes to Arsenal, you know nothing about football anymore. Like when it comes to
No,
Arsenal,
I don't have a problem with that. What? Show me one clear. The stats say United did not create one big chance. The stats say, go and read it. The stats say United did not create
what
one
does the
big
XG
chance.
say?
So
What
where
does
are
the
you
XG
manufacturing
say?
chances from? Where are you manufacturing chances from? The stats say United did not create one big
What does the
chance.
XG say,
What
Ini?
the stats say? Where are you
What does
manufacturing
the XG say?
chances?
Wait, I want to ask you a question, right? Simple yes, no. Who does the XG give a higher goal scoring chance percentage?
Bro, I don't give a flipping flying F about XG. I'm talking about the game that I watched yesterday. How many clear chances did United
So
create
all of
yesterday?
a sudden, so
No,
this is the
I'm
first
asking a
episode,
simple
right?
question.
After
The stats
hold
say
on,
you're
I didn't
talking
hear your question,
XG.
right? Because your network is lagging,
No,
right?
you're talking XG. The
This is
stats
the first
say
episode.
United did not create one big chance.
Snailman, you said how many chances did United create yesterday?
Yes. How many clear chances? Clear chances.
Ah,
I didn't say
Baba.
chances.
Baba,
How
which
many?
kind of life is this one now? Senior man. Senior
No, but I
man,
said
which kind
clear
of life is
chances.
this? Senior man.
I say clear chances. Clear chances.
What
Clear
Ini,
chances.
clear
can I quickly say
You don't know what
something?
a clear chance
clear
is.
chances?
So
Ini Obon, can I quickly
Okay,
say
okay,
so
please
something?
so
explain.
IBK,
Can I
when
quickly
person
say
shoot ball,
something?
IBK, when person shoot ball from outside 18, na clear chance, na chance with that.
Ini
No
Obon,
be
can I
chance, but
quickly say
they
Is that a
something?
chance?
had
Can
at
I
least
quickly say
three.
something?
They had at least 3 to 4 chances that it was just saved by either the defender or the goalkeeper. Like it was already in the net. Like the ball don't enter
Ini
the
Obon,
senior
can
man.
I say something,
I don't
please?
understand what they talk.
Ini,
How? Please
Now the
tell
same
me
ball we
which one.
watch. Now the same match we
Ini, can I
watch.
ask you a question?
Which one
Senior man,
where they get
Umbuemo
where
did there.
defender block when he nearly entered goal?
Senior man, Umbuemo
Ini,
Which
did
can I
one?
there.
ask you a
Kunya
question?
own
Can
did
I
there.
ask a question?
Which one? That header.
IBK,
This
IBK,
other
wait,
boy, what's the name
IBK,
again?
wait.
I don't forget him. Dogu own did there.
IBK. You don't forget anything. Chances no day.
Dogu own did
United were
there.
just shooting.
No, senior man, no
Yeah,
dey.
Dogu on what? I mentioned
See,
Dogu on, and I said,
hello,
I
you dey hear
mentioned
me?
Dogu's, and I said, that is what I mentioned
Baba,
two
you dey hear me?
probable situations that United could have scored from. That's where I started from. They could have scored from. Two.
Senior
I
man,
But
mentioned two.
senior man, United could have scored
Ini,
4
I
goals
went away and
yesterday
came
wait,
back.
wait,
You
easily.
are
wait,
still
wait,
talking.
wait, wait,
4
wait, wait,
goals
wait, wait.
easily
The
yesterday.
Cunha chance. Cunha took the
4
ball
goals.
and went. That's the
So I
clear
don't
chance
understand what you're
now.
trying to say
I don't
here.
understand what you're
Ini,
saying.
Ini knows nothing about.
Wale,
Ini knows
Wale,
nothing about
Wale,
football.
Wale,
Ini knows
Wale,
nothing
hold
about
on.
football.
I'm sure you are going to go and watch all these things. I said at the start of when we're talking about these chances thing, I said at the start that United had two probable situations that they could have scored from. Two. I mentioned it. The
You are
double
repeating
strike
yourself.
that came
Ini,
off
you're
that,
repeating
that
yourself.
came
If
off
you
the
said
foot
it,
of the post,
if you
that came
said
off
it,
the
right?
foot of the that came off the foot of the post. That is one that you can say could have gone in, unlucky because it beat the goalkeeper and came off the foot of the post. That is a one I can say could have gone in. The second one that I said that looked like could have gone in was the Cunha shot where he had an acute angle where he's hit the ball and Raya has made a really brilliant save. And I also mentioned that from the angle the ball was going, you're not quite sure it was going in.
Baba, 4 clear chances. 4 yesterday for United. I would, you know what I would do? I would,
Four clear chances.
yes, I would.
Somehow, the people who do stats say United didn't have one big chance, but United had four clear chances. No wahala.
Anyway, I want us to agree that going into the season, right? You have said that XG is not important, right? So you
You
can
say
never.
that.
So
I don't. You
relax
say
now.
that.
You have said that XG is not
I did
important.
not say. Don't say what I did not
Okay,
say. I just
okay,
said
okay,
that I don't care about it. I did not say it's not
okay.
important.
So
Not use
so
my
you have
words.
created you have created the framework for how you have conversation going forward, right?
They
Because
play.
I know that Arsenal will play a game. You understand? Where they will have the XG. For I will recall this conversation on a Monday, right? The 18th of August. We'll fight. Thank God you're calling. Thank God you're back. I want us to lay some ground rules. He has said that XG. He doesn't care about XG, right? So this let's make this season our discussions built on there's something in law where when a case is done in law, the next subsequent cases reference those cases. And he has said now that XG is not important to him. So in the coming weeks, when Arsenal play a game and don't win the game or lose the game, and we can say Arsenal play well, we will say no, XG is not important for when he is involved in the conversation. And he also said that United created only 2 chances in the game that he can count, right? And then he
let
says
me let
that the
me
stats.
Please now, please let's stop this thing. I did not say that. I don't understand. Is English so hard for people to understand? When did I say that United created 2 chances in the game?
But you,
I
you said
that
it.
God of mercy. When did I say that?
But you say just no, right?
Okay, please, give me 1 minute. I'm going to say what I said in 1 minute. There's the timer
Okay.
on. I can 1 minute. I said, and I repeat very clearly, United had a lot of situations that could have led to goal. But there are only 2 situations that United had that I felt that probably should have led to a goal. Probably. The double shot that hit the foot of the post and the double shot that hit the foot of the post and the Cunha shot from that acute angle that Dreyer saved. Those are the 2 chances that look like could have gone in if the goalkeeper did not save the Cunha shot and the ball did not come off the post of double shot. The Brian Burmo header was a good header. It was on target, but it was not a strike that worried the goalkeeper. If he wanted to catch that ball, he could have caught it, but he just wanted to be safe. That's why he parried it out. The other chances United had, the other situations they had, where what's his name, Cunha. Cunha ran through the Arsenal team and went straight at goal, but Saliba closed the angle. In the end, it was a tame shot. Brian Brumo had something like that too. It was a tame shot. There is not a time, apart from those 2 situations, that Arsenal genuinely looked like they were going to concede a goal. That is the point I'm making. I'm not saying United didn't have shots on goal or they did not have shots.
1 minute, 1 minute,
in
Ini.
Arsenal.
1 minute don't reach. 1 minute don't reach. 1 minute don't reach, right? No, do you remember the delay shot that went
That the
just wide,
goalkeeper see.
right? Do you remember the Sesko, where Sesko and Mbeumo were in half, they were in like, what do we do? Like, who takes it? Do you remember that shot? Where Mbeumo didn't end
I
up
remember.
pulling trigger, right? Okay. But so you remember that one, you left it out.
So
My own
we're
question is
not doing
simple.
ifs now.
In
That's
number
what
of
you're saying.
which, in number of
No, but
I
you
which,
said
in
can,
number of which,
but
no,
you're
no,
the one
no,
that said
no.
that
The,
in number
If
of
Odegaard
no,
had
no,
which,
no,
in
played the
no.
number
The
of
pass,
start
which.
of this conversation, I was very clear with the things I said. I
I
said
mean, you have said what you wanted to say now. This is my own turn. This is my own turn to talk.
realistically, because if you are saying that, you're forgetting that Saka had a shot on inside 6-yard box that could have gone in. Is there any chance you had in that game? If Delhi
Mm.
doesn't block that, that's a goal. If Delhi
Wait,
doesn't block that
so
ball, that's a goal.
relax. So the league go enter, they go enter team boss. Reach Old Trafford, enter stadium. They will kick shots in, will leave and make the enter.
No, make you enter now. No, the point is,
So you
United had.
so
I am not even saying Arsenal created any chance in that game. And I don't.
you have not. Oh Jesus! Oh my God! Ini.
Hold on. There were situations Arsenal had that could have led to goal, but I don't even see it as a chance because you did not score or you did not threaten the goalkeeper. I always feel like real chances are when you threaten a goalkeeper. If a goalkeeper makes a regulation save, that is not a chance, but it's comfortable for him. If a goalkeeper makes a despairing dive save or tips it around the post or is one-on-one with a player and he comes out and he blocks it, that's a chance. Not when you are hitting balls and the goalkeeper is picking it up from the ground. Regulation save, what commentators call catching practice. When a goalkeeper is making catching practice and you call it a chance, it's embarrassing. Like so,
What?
Martinelli had a shot inside the box where Bainda picked it from the ground. I should call that a chance. But it was inside the box. He hit the ball was on target, and Bainda picked it up. Is that a chance? There's no way that's a chance.
No wahala. Ini. We've established this episode. Wale, do us a favor, right? When you're editing the clip, right? Roll the highlights on some of the videos. Like roll the highlights, right? Let's see what
Do
he's
we have
doing.
do,
Anyway,
do we have permission to do that?
don't worry, we are good. Right. Anyway, I want to speak about, I hope before I come back to you, I want to speak about Chelsea, right? Because I thought Chelsea, I don't think people understand how good the Palace manager is. And obviously, when you think about the top tier manager, you think about Pep, Klopp and co. But there are some managers, when you watch the way their teams play, and above that, you watch the way they motivate their team and speak about their team, and you realize just how the reason they are in the job. Wait, I don't know if you saw the clip. Oliver Glasner was speaking to his team after the FA Cup win, right? And he said the win is important. The win is great.
Yeah, I saw that.
But for him, it's not about the win. It's for him is all the work they've put in, the way they carry themselves, the way they're brave. I think that many teams will struggle to be Palace if they don't lose their key players. I know I have a player in that team, Adam Watson. He's a United player. They are holding him, for us.
When did you sign him?
No, he's a United player.
Brilliant player, brilliant footballer, by the way.
I think Adam Watson is. There are not 3 central midfielders in the Premier League that are better than him. They're not three. I think he's
that's debatable.
at the moment.
I think that's debatable.
I think about Liverpool. McAllister is Liverpool's best midfield player, right? But he does everything: defense, attacks, does everything. Good midfield player. Chelsea have Caicedo, very good midfield player. But I don't know that Adam Watson does not play. If Adam Watson is at Chelsea, I don't know if he doesn't play in Chelsea team. And that for me is always the indicator. Adam Watson walks into United's team. Adam Watson plays, in my opinion, plays beside Declan Rice in Arsenal's team. Right. You can say Zubimendi, is this. But I don't think Zubimendi would bench Adam Watson. The point I'm trying to make, ultimately, is that I don't think people should be too hard on Chelsea's failure to beat Crystal Palace. Palace are an extremely, extremely difficult team to beat. The system they play, of course, is the same with Amorim. Difference is that they're a bit more. They don't have the quality that United have in some positions. But I think that Chelsea, did a really good job to not lose that game, because they could easily have lost that game, and of course it could go the same way as well. Palace could, they could easily have beat Palace as well. So I think a fair result at 0-0. I don't know if you had a different opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought in the end, that goal was the goal that was chalked off. I thought that,
What did you make
maybe,
of what did you make of that call?
and it's in the rule book, in the rule book, but it's just something that we've not just seen before. It happened in football. It's not, and usually when a rule doesn't quite regularly happen in football and it's used in football, when it eventually happens, when a referee now, develops some balls and say, that's what the rule book says, and it's usually very frustrating. But I can understand why the referee chopped it off, but also, it's not why Chelsea conceded the goal. It's not. It wasn't that consequential to the eventual goal being scored. That's why it was quite frustrating. But I totally agree with your sentiments about Palace. I think that Oliver Glasner is a top guy. What he has transformed that Crystal Palace side, and the kind of hard work that team, they play with, the kind of energy they play with. And you talk about Watson in midfield, very unassuming, excellent on the ball, gets excellent challenges in, brilliant team all round. And then they have the Maverick, making things happen. I thought that in the end, it was a very good result for Chelsea, because, Crystal Palace, if that ball had gone in, all of a sudden, if the goal had stood, all of a sudden, I don't think Chelsea played particularly poorly. I just think that Crystal Palace were able to snuff them out, make it difficult for them to have their free-flowing football. There's the Colombian fullback, the wing back, what's his name? Munoz, I think. Yeah, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. He kept Jamie Gittins quiet, and Jamie Gittins is a very difficult customer to keep quiet. I thought he was really brilliant. The left back, Tyreek Mitchell, very underrated left back, absolutely brilliant. I thought that as a team, they're a very difficult unit to play against. So I don't think you can read too much. And even if Chelsea had won 3-0 or 4-0, I don't think I would read too much. I just think that it's the opening day of the season. I said it on Thursday that whether you like it or not, it's just a more serious game, but it still feels like preseason, particularly for a team like Chelsea. It still feels like preseason because their first, competitive match of the season, but it's their third match, since they won the Club World Cup. So it feels like there's still a few cobwebs to clean, a few, adapting to do for them. So I don't think it's a particularly bad result for them.
Yeah, I think so too. What did you make of the new promoter sides? Any surprise? I thought these guys demolished West Ham. I don't know what Graham Potter is doing there.
I think West Ham are in serious trouble. They need to sign players. I think, and Sunderland were good. I saw the game. I saw most of the game, I should say. I thought Sunderland were brilliant, and of all the three promoted sides, I think they made the biggest signing, the best signings this summer, and particularly when you sign a Xhaka into your team, a very experienced, cool head player. He will help the younger players and the players who haven't played in the Premier League before. I thought it was a very brilliant signing. And what I was really surprised with was the manager handing him the captain's armband. He just arrived a week or two ago, and the manager's handed him the captain's armband. But I thought, from a West Ham point of view, I thought they were abject. It was a really poor performance, and I expected it. A newly promoted side, first, in front of their home crowd. Sunderland are one of those traditional, if you like, Premier League teams. They've been in the Premier League back and forth, but they're a very, very traditional Premier League team. They have one of the biggest stadiums in England. I think their stadium, their capacity takes 40 something to almost 50,000. It's a massive stadium. So I expected it to be a really raucous occasion, and that's what it turned out to be. Just West Ham just couldn't cope with the intensity, and I thought that Graham Potter needs to get some players in that team. I thought that they looked really repetitive and very frustrating to watch. And in the end, Sunderland took them apart. But it was really good to see, from a newly promoted side. Burnley went to Tottenham. Burnley, they made signings. Kyle Walker looks like the biggest signing they made this summer. But I thought Tottenham were good too, in terms of intensity, in terms of how they played. They played really remember Rufai talking about Postecoglou, playing irresponsible football. Thomas Frank is a direct opposite of Ange Postecoglou. He knows when to stick, he knows when to twist, and when he sees an opponent and he doesn't suspect them, he doesn't want to say, "Yo, I'm going to go with my ideals. We're going to find a way to win a football match, and if it takes us not quite doing our ideals, it's something that we will need to do." And I thought that Tottenham, blew them away. Even though Burnley had a few scraps in the game where they felt like it should have taken opportunity, but Tottenham were overwhelmingly better than them on the day. And the last promoted side is Leeds United against Everton tonight. It feels like, Daniel Farker, I hope he's learned his lesson, because we would still remember him at Norwich coming in and
How
wanting
do you
to
how do you
play.
sell? How do you let Bamford go and buy Calvert Lewin?
Calvin Lewin, if he's fit, is at best a top 6, top 7 player. I think that he's got the ability to play for any of the top 7, top 8 clubs in the Premier League when he's fit. And
Not manager.
if he's fit, I think it's a massive if. And because I always feel like he offers you a lot more. He runs channels. He's physical, really good on the ball. He can link up play. He can score goals. So I think they've made a really good signing in Calvert Lewin. But that big if Calvert Lewin stays fit, because you always worry for Calvert Lewin's fitness problems. I think it's a really good signing. But Leeds, I like to see what they do today against Everton. I hope Daniel Farker has left, like I said, not get excited and want to play, champagne, expansive football. The realities of the Premier League will hit him harder than it hit him the last time if he tries it again. I hope he has learned his lesson, but it should be a good game tonight.
I don't know if you saw anything. It's a great chat with the Premier League, and just wrapping it up here. I don't know if you saw the Barcelona game. I expected Barcelona to beat,
Mallorca,
who they play again? Mallorca,
Mallorca, Mallorca.
newly promoted team, no?
No, no,
Um,
no, no. Mallorca, Real Mallorca,
right.
not
I
promoted.
expected. I didn't expect less from Barcelona. 3-0, very comfortable. Mallorca had a red card. Um, I was surprised with Atletico Madrid's
Yeah, I was too. I was too. I kind of understand. I saw the first half, and when Julian Alvarez scored, it felt like they're going to coast, they're going to cruise into the game. But Espanyol is a difficult team to play against anytime, any day, and they just found a way to get back into the game. And Atletico Madrid were making so many mistakes, and they brought in not a lot of players, but they brought in a sizable number of players this season. They brought Alex Baena from Atletico Madrid. They brought a defender. What's his name again? From Atalanta. They brought in a defender from Feyenoord. What's his name? Hanko. The Atletico Madrid have signed. And you would think that it's this sort of game, start of the season, if you're realistically going to challenge Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's this sort of games where you have to find a way and see off. And it was just a surprising defeat for them, and I'm sure Simeone will be very frustrated.
yeah, yeah. Great work all around. And I think we'll leave it there. It's been a very intense conversation. I hope that we can pull back some of the highlights, and you can put your logic cap back on. When we meet on Thursday. But
Replay.
guys, thank you very much indeed for joining the episode and watching. Um, Look, we're trying to make sure that we give you as much as we can from a preview and a review standpoint. Hope you enjoyed. Let us know in the comments what you want to be better on the show from this episodes, and we can take that feedback and put it to good use. Yeah, Ini, I want to thank you very much indeed for making out the time in the morning. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. Ini, of course, sorry, Lakule and IBK, came in and out, but that's really nice. So thank you very much, Ini. See you soon. Yeah.